it's a little bit easier to read chat. A little bit closer to the camera. We'll see. We'll see how it works. How's everyone doing today? Have you had a fantastic Thanksgiving? And if your country does not give you Thanksgiving, I mean, let's be real. This is time to protest. The weekend to protest. Every country should have time set aside to thank your glorious leaders for whatever tragedy they've done so far this year. But I do think it's important for us to count our blessings, and I hope that you guys have had a good Thanksgiving so far. Yeah, I hope you've all had a good Thanksgiving. All right, we have a bit of news to cover, and then we'll get into some. You know what? Yesterday on stream, we got the AI arena working. It's not perfect, but it's good enough for the AI games. We're gonna make it better. We're gonna make it better before the AI games, but we got it working. So I was really happy about that. Super, super happy. I'm just giving a little bit of time for people to filter in before we dive into the news. And I gotta go climb on my roof after this is done. I have a fireplace that's not working, and I think it might be the roof cap. So I gotta go check on that. One of the things I don't like about it is that my roof is very steep. I did this. Really, I was showing elevation. I needed to change it to the side. I think you know what? I didn't. Nighthound, how are you? Just so you know, when I woke up today and went outside, the ground was crunchy. You know it's cold when the ground is crunchy. Yeah. Okay, it was 10 degrees. So this morning when I went out. 10 degrees, which would one second, I can do this. I'm gonna say is -10 in Celsius. That's my guess. That's just like doing like some fuzzy math. Let me. Oh my goodness! I have gotten scary good at this. I have gotten scary good at the head math conversion. I've gotten pretty scary good at that conversion. Yeah, when the ground gets really cold, all of the blades of grass freeze, right? And so it gets crunchy as you walk on it. Sorry, got a hair. Yeah, it gets crunchy. That's I can't describe it any other way. It's crunchy. Oh. And I don't know, normal freezing, like 0 degrees, that doesn't happen. You know, the sun and whatnot, like, you know it's cold when it gets crunchy. You thought the weather was usually nice in Silicon Valley? Yeah, me too. I've been lied to, or I just don't understand where I made mistakes when moving. I made mistakes. Mistakes were made. Mistakes were made. I actually like the cold. I much rather have cold than I have heat. Now, I know Silicon Valley is kind of like nice all year round, especially in the Bay. But like, you can't live in the Bay because I don't make $12 billion a year. So outside of the Bay, it gets hot, and I don't love the hot heat. So. You probably tolerate the heat much better than I do. If it didn't get dark so quickly, I would actually be outside more during the winter than I am during the summer. And I'm out during the summer quite a bit. The only thing that keeps me in is not the cold, but it just gets dark. And you have to do everything with a flashlight or a headlamp or whatever it is. It gets dark here around 5-ish at this point. Middle of the winter, it will be like 4:30. Yeah, like end of January. I don't know what the darkest day is. Darkest day. I want to say it's end of January, beginning of February. Oh, it's December 21st. That's earlier than I thought, which actually is good because it means we're close to the worst of it. Fantastic. I was off by a whole month. Nightcrawler, I believe that refers to an earthworm, just so you know. Talk about going to get some night crawlers. Those are earthworms in the local colloquial, in the local language. Not vampires. If you were thinking that was meant night vampires, it actually means earthworms. Yeah, you didn't know that? Wait. I mean, yeah. A nightcrawler is a large earthworm, typically found on the soil surface at night. They also like, if you're looking for nightcrawlers, if this is really something that you're interested in, you can find them at night. After it rains, they can't breathe underwater. So like if the water table raises, they have to come to the surface, as well as underneath things that have been sitting on the ground but aren't like perfectly flat on the ground. You'll find a lot of nightcrawlers. I didn't know you didn't realize this. I thought you were. I thought you were just joking with it. They're just the big worms that you find around here. I don't know how they became night crawlers. I guess because they slither around at night. I don't know how crawler was in it because like they slither around at night. But yeah, I thought you were joking. Well, let's get into the news. Dilly-dallied long enough. Welcome, everyone. Let's start with security, as we do. I thought it meant somebody who likes to be out at night. I mean, I guess they like to be out at night. Yeah, you know, to each their own. Start using it that way. See what people think of you. You know, I won't judge if you start calling yourself a nightcrawler. Others will, absolutely, but you know. All right. Let's get into the news. Today we have quite a bit of stuff to cover in security that I think actually would be useful to you. My first call that I want to discuss with you all is that you really need to be careful with NPM. And I think one of the, you know, we've talked about slop squatting in the past, and we've talked about different NPM attacks. And what I want to warn you, and maybe I say warn you, but like what I want to say is like you really need to make sure that AI doesn't touch your NPM packages. Not only do you want them to not touch your NPM packages, at this point in time, you need to be very, very careful with NPM packages. And I don't think you can use NPM without pinning it to a specific version. I think that's kind of at the point where we're at. And you're going to see as we go through the news, not everything at the beginning is NPM, but we'll cover some NPM stuff. And then later on in the news, we're going to cover yet another very major NPM breach. And I think it's really valid to talk about these things because I think as organizations, as engineers with customers' data, it's really important to understand these type of attacks. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is North Korean hackers deploy 97 NPM packages to spread updated Otter Cookie malware. Now, this is Otter Cookie as well as Beavertail, and it's an updated version of Otter Cookie, and it's an updated version of Otter Cookie that has features of Beavertail. If you're not familiar with those, we can discuss them after the news. Now, one of the big things that I think is really, really important here is that they made packages that very much look like what an AI would want. You look at these and you're thinking, Tailwind CSS forms, Webpack load CSS. You're talking about JSON OAuth. These sound like things that somebody might prompt an AI for. You know, I want the JWT token JSON parsing of OAuth. And you get stuff like that, and an AI is going to be like, there is a repo out there for that. Now, will it look at how many stars, how old the package is, all of those different things? I'm not sure that it will, and I'm actually almost positive that it won't. So when I'm talking about not letting AI do your dependencies and pick these things, these are the reasons why I think it's very important for us to avoid, in general, having AI put in new imports in new dependencies in our projects. So anyways, that's why I say this, but this actually isn't the last thing that we're going to talk about in NPM, and I'm going to circle back on this topic a little bit later. But as you have it, there are quite a few things. If you're looking, the Hacker News here has a couple links to a couple of different people that had it. Socket was the group that found it, who has a pretty great write-up on it. We're not going to dive into it. It's pretty uninspired. I mean, like I said, it's basically just the combination of Beavertail and Otter Cookie. So have fun with that. But yeah, so anyways, be on the lookout for that. Be careful with NPM. MS Teams guest access can remove Defender protection when users join external tenants. This is just spectacular. You know, Microsoft said 2 years ago, security, security, security. And then AI came along and they said AI, AI, AI at all costs. So I think maybe they gave up on the security thing. Cybersecurity researchers have shed light on a cross-tenant build spot that allows attackers to bypass Microsoft Defender for Office 365 products via the guest access feature in Teams. When users operate as guests in another tenant, their protections are determined entirely by the hosting environment, not by their home organization. These advancements increase collaboration opportunities, but they also widen the responsibility for ensuring those external environments are trustworthy and properly secured. So it's really common for people to share, have your external providers in your Slack and have a open communication channel with them. I'm sure people do this with Teams as well. It's just that you need to be very, very careful with it because they can remove Defender protection, and that's not great. Now, while we're ragging on Microsoft, let's give them a thumbs up for something they did do. The Azure infrastructure blog? Azure slammed the front door. Absolutely slammed the front door on what is being called the largest DDoS attack ever. Now, for a service that goes down as much as it does, I want to give them kudos for this. On October 24th, I completely missed this because they have been down so much. I was making fun of them for being down. Azure automatically detected and mitigated a multi-vector DDoS attack measuring 15 terabits per second and nearly 3.64 billion packets per second. This was the largest ever observed in the cloud and was targeting a single endpoint in Australia. There was a single endpoint in Australia that people really did not want. By utilizing Azure's global distributed DDoS protection infrastructure and continuous detection capabilities, mitigation measures were initiated. Malicious traffic was effectively filtered and redirected, maintaining uninterrupted service availability for customers' workloads. This was, of course, until their entire service went down, a few days later. But this is pretty impressive. Now, I wish that this was a Cloudflare write-up. When I looked at this, I was like, this is really cool. And whenever Cloudflare does this, they give you so much information with pretty graphs that I like. And Microsoft didn't do any of the pretty graphs. They just came out a week and a half later, 2 weeks later, 2.5 weeks later. I can't do simple math. 2.5, 3 weeks later. And this is some unintended window. Oh, Russell, did you miss my intro to it? You missed a fantastic intro because I said that Azure just slammed the front door on a 15.7 terabytes per second DDoS attack. So that was for you. That was that was for you. You're absolutely welcome. Oh, I giving him kudos, but I really am kind of sad about the lack of any real information here. Like, this is about it. And thank you so much, Russell. The news today is brought to you by Russell. Russell, who has subscribed for 33 months. I believe Russell is my longest ever subscriber. Thank you so much. Oh, Russell, you'll have to see. Yesterday, while I was streaming, we got the AI arena working with the new secret manager, and I want to review on the secret manager. I think it's kind of cool, but it could be pretty dented because I've never done something like that before. There was definitely a bunch of Googling and asking AI, which I tried to validate the things the AI said with Googling. But it could be just not actually good. Uh, it could be not good. But I tried. So I think I found some examples. Whether it's secure or not, it's actually pretty cool. It works in a very interesting way. Anyways, we're back to the news. Anyways, there was a very large one. I wish that they would tell us a little bit more about what they did, how they detected it, and those types of things. But, you know, I think honestly, if you operate any website, you have to expose it through one of these big players. Like, gone are the days of exposing your website without going through something like Cloudflare or Azure or AWS. Like, it doesn't matter whether you're self-hosted, your application has to be exposed to the web there because just the prevalency of this. Nexus Null. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, Nighthound. Thank you for the gifted sub. What a legend. Well, Nexus Null, welcome to the ad-free experience. It's almost as good as the ad experience. Nighthound, thank you so much. Nighthound gets free ad-free viewing anyhow. All right, let's move on. We have a bunch of stuff in security, and I am saving the best for last because I want people to know about it. I talked yesterday about it as well, but I figured I would talk today about it for the people that missed yesterday. I didn't do the whole news yesterday, just the highlight of something that is very important for people. I should have done it the day before, but I went on a long spew about how my one fireplace is broken, and I had to kind of work on that during Thanksgiving. So I didn't stream in that time because I was working on that because that's my heat source. Anyways, let's move on. Google issues a security fix for an actively exploited Chrome V8 zero-day vulnerability. I don't know that this was super interesting. I almost didn't put it in here, but there was a bunch of these types of stuff. So just a reminder to keep your stuff updated. It's fairly vulnerable. This means any browser that uses the Google V8, which means any browser but Firefox. So my browser isn't affected by this, but probably yours is. This means Edge. This means Brave. This means I don't know Vivaldi. Does Vivaldi use Chromium? My guess would be that Vivaldi uses Chromium. I'm not entirely sure on that one, but lots and lots use the Chromium V8 engine, so keep updated. All right. I saw this security from the Salesforce Trust Center. So Salesforce has identified unusual activity involving Gainsight published applications connected to Salesforce, which are installed and managed directly by customers. Our investigation indicates this activity may have enabled unauthorized access to certain customer Salesforce data through the app's connection. All right. They have reached out to you if this was you, but please take this seriously, and hopefully you all have been notified. So they said that they have contacted the affected customers directly, Now, that being said, if you have a Gainsight published application that you have installed, I would go through and make sure that nothing looks suspicious, even if they haven't reached out to you. And I would make sure that that application has been revoked. Period. Full stop. Until the waters have settled and we understand and make sure that it's remedied. My recommendation right now is that you would just yeet that out of your environment, and move on with not using it for the time being, as well as reviewing everything that's going on. So this is an ongoing. I'm going to post this. I know that we as software engineers don't care about Salesforce a lot, but our companies usually do, or a lot of companies do. So, anyways, just be careful. Be careful. This one is for you. I know that Fluent bit is used quite voraciously across ecosystems, and you need to update right now. I know that that's what I'm saying, but there is a chain of 5 critical vulnerabilities in Fluent bit that allows attackers to compromise cloud infrastructure. This is a thing that will let people take over your cloud infrastructure. So I know that Fluent bit is super well used. I mean, it's used everywhere, is what I mean. It's used all over the place, and you need to make sure you update it. These are actually pretty high level bugs. So unauthorized tag values are used to generate output file names, allowing attackers to inject path traversal sequences like ... to write or overwrite arbitrary files on disk, enabling log tampering and many configurations full remote code execution. You can do that. There's many ways if you can write or overwrite files to get code execution with fairly easily. This is a Stack Overflow in the Docker input enables attackers to trigger crashes or execute code by creating containers with excessively long names, giving them control over Fluent bit agent on the host. Again, a flaw in Fluent bit's tag matching logic that attackers spoof trusted tags by guessing only the first character of a tag key, enabling them to reroute logs, bypass filters, and inject malicious or misleading records. This is probably the most non-horrible, and it's terrifying. Tags derived by a user controlled field bypass sanitation. Oh boy, sanitation bypass is never good. You want things sanitized, trust me. Allowing attackers to inject new line traversal sequences and control characters that corrupt downstream logs or enable broader output-based attacks. Fluent bit forwards configured with security. Users silently disable authentication, allowing remote attackers to send logs, inject false telemetry, or flood detection systems despite appearing secure. So, these two, terrifying. Remote code execution on your infrastructure, absolutely terrifying. These, bad. Very bad. This, somewhere between very bad and terrifying. I don't know what that is. I don't know. We need to come up with a word from between very bad and terrifying. That's this one. It falls right in the middle of those two groups. So, all of this being said, you need to upgrade Fluent bit right away. It's been the patch has been out there for a little bit. Make sure you're on it. It's just awful. Yeah. And that can be used in Wordle too. Gosh dang it. If you want to see more about the Fluent bit, you can go here. This was a pretty good write-up on it. I did not get into what or exactly how these all worked. One, because there's a bunch of different ones, and so It's actually quite a bit. Like if you go through this, it's quite a bit. And so I didn't get into how to execute all of it myself. But yeah, it goes into detail. All right. This next piece of news is like a 1-2 punch for the open source. So we're going to talk about in the Ray open source artificial intelligence framework. So the activity, codenamed Shadow Ray 2.0, is an evolution of a prior wave that was observed between September and March, blah, blah, blah. The attack at its core exploits a critical missing authentication bug to take control of susceptible instances and hijack the computing power for illicit cryptocurrency mining. The vulnerability has been The vulnerability has remained unpatched due to a long-standing design decision that's consistent with Ray's development best practices, which requires it to run in an isolated network and act upon trusted code. The campaign involves submitting malicious jobs with commands ranging from simple reconnaissance to complex multi-stage Bash and Python payloads to an unauthenticated Ray job submission API on exposed dashboards. The compromised Ray clusters are then used in spray and pray attacks to distribute the payloads to other Ray dashboards, creating a worm that can essentially spread from one victim to another. Okay, so this is really important. And if you use Ray, like if you need to use Ray, what it means is Ray has to be completely isolated. There has to be no way that a user of your system can get something to Ray without it being highly sanitized first. There cannot be something I do that creates a Ray job where I can manipulate that Ray job at all. Because if I can, I'm going to be able to hijack your Ray cluster. That's the big important thing here. And I wanted to point this out because we're also covering Ray a little bit later. And this is not patched. This is not a go ahead and update it. It is they have decided that they don't want to do this. And because they don't want it to do this, that for a design reason, this is how you have to run Ray to be safe. Literally as much isolation as you can. Now, we're going to go talk about some other things. We'll be coming back to talk about Ray in just a little bit. The last thing in security, I put it here because I don't really know. I saw it. I don't know if it's useful. Molly, an improved Signal app. I didn't know Signal needed improvement. Obviously it does. I don't know. It says Molly is an independent Signal fork for Android with improved features. I know that there is anti-encryption going on all around the world. And if you need to get your hands on some privacy, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. Some of this seems counterintuitive, like multi-device, because I'm pretty sure Signal is multi-device. I don't know. Signal is also encrypted. I don't know. It has Tor support, but that seems counter. Like, if it's actually doing its job with the encryption properly, do you really need Tor support? I don't really. That's like encryption on encryption, right? Like the Tor network is just encryption, right? So like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Go check it out if you like. I'm not a security professional. All right. We have one last thing. And I want to tell you all something very important. I told you so. A couple weeks ago, I told you that we were not done with Sha1-hulud. I, in fact, said they had stolen hundreds of thousands of credentials. I said this was just the start, and with those credentials, they could do other things. And I knew that there was going to be people that didn't rotate the credentials. I also said this was just the start of this type of attack, and we're going to see more. Now, some call me a prophet, some just call me really good at understanding what people are going to do. And I'm not even either of those things. I just knew that this was going to be a thing from now on. So, guess what? Get this out of my face. Okay. Sha1-hulud 2.0 supply chain attack. 25,000 plus repos exposing secrets. Now, this is not Sha1-hulud. This is Sha1-hulud. It's SHA1. I call it Sha1-hulud just because it makes it easier than saying Sha1-hulud 2.1. Anyways, so a lot of people call it this is what most people call it, Sha1-hulud, the second coming. Now, I have really liked Step Security's blogs on this. I've been really liking them on this. Wiz's blog post on this is also really good, so I'm going to post both. I'm going to give you guys both. You can pick which one you want to read. Wiz's is a little bit more in depth. Step Security is more of a bigger overview. So, pick which one you'd like. I have a couple things I want to point out to you all that I think is important and pressing right now. This goes back to what I said at the very start of the stream, where at this point, there are a lot of things happening with NPM. And don't get me wrong, I'm going to pick on NPM today because it's easy and fun. And NPM suffers more from these things because of design considerations than some of the others. But any package manager could suffer from this. Even my favorite ones like crates.io could suffer from these type of attacks. And so I've set out some guidelines that I like teams to run by that help protect from these type of attacks. And those are the things that I want to discuss today and talk about it. First of these is that AIs are not allowed to add dependencies to projects. Full stop. An AI should not be allowed to add a dependency in your project. Because, as we saw here, these packages that people are making ones that AIs would pick. Let's say you wanted to get the JSON out of a JWT from OAuth. Well, there's JSON OAuth. Maybe it does that. Maybe it gives you a beaver tail otter cookie. Nobody wants a beaver tail otter cookie, but you might get one. You know, let's say you want a session keeper. All of these sound like something you might want to do. Tailwind magic. If you go look it up, it has like some magical things that it supposedly does with Tailwind, but it actually just gives you a beaver tail otter cookie. You know, my point is we need to create some basic guidelines on how we leverage these things. And worst of all, this has two places it can get you. In your supply chain, whatever CI/CD that you're doing, where you build these projects, it can attack your CI/CD system. The other place it can get you is on your local machine, on your local dev boxes. So these are the two different places that you can be taken by this type of attack. So the first thing is no AIs allowed to add dependencies to your project. That's step one. The second thing is, and this is one that I talked about last time, is no new packages. every package has to be at least 2 days old. I think that actually a week is better. 5 business days is what I like. It makes me way more comfortable. And then you can make exceptions if and when you need it, when there is a feature or whatnot. You can even make exceptions for internal packages. So let's say you have a package that you publish and you want to always use the latest and greatest of that one because maybe it gets lockstep. You know, you're adding a new feature to it so that your project can have that new feature. Fine. I don't care about that. But external dependencies should be at least a minimum of 2 days. I think 5 days. Generally, you don't need that much unless if there's like, again, an exception because there's a horrible security vulnerability that you want to patch or something like that. Those are the first 2 steps I think everybody needs to do today for their supply chain management. I think that makes things like this less of an issue. They really need to make a malicious fix the errors package. Oh. What we really need to do is we need to start squatting on all of these so that they can't slop squat it with stuff. Like we just need to go reserve a bajillion names and then give them out to like actual projects. Make them fill out a form that has like a 5-page college essay on why they deserve that name. So they can't just go get a billion names. I guess you just get AI to generate it, but you should be able to tell AI slop. Anyways, that being said, we're in Sha1-hulud. Right now, it's going on again. Again, 25,000 repos are exposing secrets. That was at the time of writing this. There's more now. I almost guarantee it. Now, I've been watching, and I don't think the attack is ongoing. I think that most of the packages have been found. I always say that there should be a 2-day grace period. When NPM says they haven't seen any more, you give it 2 more days. They've been really good at catching and identifying what they look like and then isolating them. I still think that you should give it 2 more days. The last one that I saw that was taken was 2 days ago. So I think that we're in the clear. I would say Monday we are in the clear. But there's still some things that you need to do. If you haven't done it, go down. What's in this campaign? Scope. Primary impact, payload analysis. What actions should security teams take? Now, I don't know why Wiz and why Step Security refuse to give me header links. Both of you guys give me flipping header links. Anyways, both of these have a what should you do and indicators of compromise. Now, Wiz doesn't actually give indicators of compromise, which I think they should have, but you can do what should you do. This is another thing that if you're dealing with NPM, you know, we have our first 2 things. The next thing is you need to pin all dependencies to known clean versions. Basically, there's no more willy-nilly updating node dependencies. And I know that you could have 1,000 of these things, and you've got to be careful updating them. You can rotate all your credentials. This is kind of a shotgun effect if you haven't been taken. If you have been taken, remember, when you rotate your credentials, you have to do it on a unaffected machine. If you do it on the machine that was taken, well, you've just given them your new credentials too. So make sure you do that. Make sure that you have good auditing in your things, blah, 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 and harden your pipelines. There's a lot of ways to do that, a lot of products to do that. I wanted to go to indicators of compromise because this one, Sha1-hulud, instead of Sha1-hulud, Sha1-hulud does some more nefarious things. It's basically a leveled up, an upgraded version. First, you can't just look for the Sha1-hulud repository. It actually creates a repository, but the repository that it creates is actually one that has a UUID instead of the name Sha1-hulud. Now, Sha1-hulud is in the description. So if you're search for a new repository, it will have a UUID, and it will have Sha1-hulud in the description. Some of the other things that it does that's pretty nefarious is it actually creates a GitHub action runner on your local machine. So it makes your local machine a GitHub action runner, configures it, and it uses a vulnerability in that to actually exfil data from your laptop, more data from your laptop, leveraging that attack. So let's see. It injects a GitHub Actions workflow explaining a comment injection vulnerability in the discussion event. The malware obtains a GitHub Action Runner registration token and installs a self-hosted runner named Sha1-hulud on the compromised machine. The repository is created by the exploit discussion enabled so anyone can create a discussion thread. The deobfuscate, it goes into it. The next thing that it does, which is more insidious, if you're on a Linux machine, is it actually then tries to nuke it to erase. Now, this isn't an insidious erase. It's not, as far as I have seen, I've read a couple places that are written up on it. It is not trying to nuke your hard drive to be a jerk. It's trying to hide what it's doing. So basically, it just tries to erase the traces of what it did on your machine and overwrites writable home files. So those are some of the leveled upness of it. So anyways, it's a little bit more nefarious. You gotta be careful. So you can look for a couple of things. The first thing is it installs bun to do this. The first thing that it does is install bun to then run bun to do all of its dirty work. So you can look for the execution of the curl command to install bun, because that is what it does. So if something does that, it doesn't mean you've been compromised, because there are things that do this, but that's a good indicator. A new .bun bin bun binary created at the same timestamp as the malicious package. This is the unexpected repository and files created on the victim's GitHub account. This is what I would look for. This is the easy thing. And then if you can look for this API calls to contents with put for the workstations or CI jobs. This is just putting in this is just them creating the workflow. So these last two seem like the easiest ways to see if your computer is infected. And I think you need to go do that. This is a worm, and it has, I believe they said, billions of lines of obfuscated, or millions of lines of obfuscated code that looks like this. 10 megabytes long. A 10 megabyte text file is absolutely massive. It has a massive hex code encoded string array. It has anti-alias loops at the very top that performs millions of operations. Every string in the code is retrieved via an obfuscated function like this. So people have been going through this and trying to deobfuscate it, but there's still a lot that they don't know what it does. So yeah, what do you all think? Now, I'm going to make a prediction. This is not the last Sha1-hulud. Remember that they stole 25,000 repos are exposing users' data. So that's 25,000 keys that they've stole from people. Well, more than that. That's 25,000 people that had their credentials stolen to everything that they could find on their computer. So now the attacks from this will begin. There's my warning. There's my warning. What do you look for? Well, so remember, let's do this. Let's do GitHub, merit counts. So what you want to look for is a newly created repository with a UUID. And in that, or Sha1-hulud, which will be the old version. And that's what they're using to exfil your data. The next thing that you can do is some of the other stuff that was listed in Step Security as well as Wiz. I posted those links so you can read through those. But that's the easiest one, is just go and look to see if you have a new repository with a UUID. If you do, this definition here, this about, will have Sha1-hulud in it. And if you have that, it means a computer you use has been infected. And all of the secrets from that computer need to be rotated immediately. Now, how do you stop this from happening in the first place? Don't use a package less than 5 days old. Now, I am campaigning to get that put into package managers. Full stop. All package managers. Even Cargo, who hasn't had this problem, could have this problem. If there was a valuable target, would have this problem. If there was a lot of big supply chains that people could get, absolutely. NPM's the easy one. NPM does things in a way that makes it even easier to hijack these with their pre and post install scripts. PyPy is going to be even not easier than NPM, but easier than Cargo. Now, while we're on security, there's one last thing that I found just touching. Last week, I tried Antigravity, Google's new Visual Studio Code offshoot, because that's what, there's Chromium, the VM, the browser, and so there's Chromium for browsers, and then there's VS Code for development, it turns out. That's apparently how it's working. Now, everybody's racing to create these AI companion empowered agent apps for coding. And Antigravity is Google's. Now, I tried it last week and I had very mixed results. There was tabs I couldn't click on. There was a whole slew of bugs. The rate limits were very, very aggressive. I actually tried it again later and I got even worse rate limiting. And those were just the tip of the iceberg. The thing I wanted to point to you next is this Forbes article that just fell onto my lap. It fell onto my lap. It couldn't have been any better. This is my last free article as well. Woohoo. Security research described a nasty flaw in Google's Antigravity tool, the latest example of companies rushing out AI tools vulnerable to hacking. It took them about 24 hours to hack Antigravity. A little rude, but Russell, remember, I said Antigravity got grounded. That's how it fell into my lap. That's in the title, isn't it? I think that's in the title. It should be in the title. If it's not in the title, I missed an opportunity. Anyways, you know that common thing when you open up the thing and it says, do you trust this directory? The reason it says, do you trust this directory is because it runs code on it. It runs AI and stuff on it. And the fact is that if you click yes, basically you can feed commands to an anti-gravity user if they're in the code and get the AI agent to actually do stuff and bypass the protections because you said so. Even if you tell it not to run specific things, if you write it inside of there because you trusted the repository, you trust what it says. And so basically you get to run whatever you want on somebody else's computer if you write a repository that does something that other people want to contribute to and they say they trust that repository. I think the big takeaway here is just be really careful, especially with an AI browser, on clicking I trust this repository. Be really careful about doing that because I don't know, but I would guess that other AI browsers or AI code are variously vulnerable to this as well, various degrees of vulnerable to this as well. AI coding agents are very vulnerable, often based on older technology and never patched. So forced descent, that's actually pretty good. I said grounded. I think that was probably better, but so anyways, I will post this for you. You guys can go read it if you like. Google aware of at least 2 other vulnerabilities in the anti-gravity code editor. In both, malicious source code can influence the AI to access files on the target's computer and steal data. This actually surprises me that they haven't sandboxed the AI. Like, you shouldn't be able to access stuff outside of the project that you're opened in. Some of this actually sounds like just from making an agent, like, that should be base protections built in, right? So it seems a little scary. And I've said this from the get-go when I tried anti-gravity. It feels like it's kind of a rushed product. It feels very rushed. I have tried many AI browsers from Cursor to Visual Studio Code, also known as Cursor and Antigravity, and Zed, and it feels very rushed. Very rushed. It feels very bad using it. The agent feels decent, actually. I would go and say the agent feels decent. They just should have not used their agent so much to build the product because the product feels rough. And maybe it works better not on Linux. I mean, that feels rough to say that, but maybe if you have a inferior OS, it works better. I don't know. I truly don't. So that's actually a really good point. I actually want to warn people that I should have brought this up during Sha1-hulud. Let me actually show you all a scary thing. This is Visual Studio Code, right? You all know it. You all love it. It's literally the base of everything that you use. Now, it's the base of Cursor, of Antigravity, of everything. Did you just see what was happening here? It said it was updating a plugin. That is because extensions let's just find an extension that's not deprecated. I haven't actually opened it for a very, very long time. Extensions by default are auto update. And yours is probably too. The scary thing about extensions and Sha1-hulud is these packages are vulnerable. I actually did a ton of research onto pre and post install hooks, and the thing is, it doesn't flippin' matter. Because some people argued that it didn't matter because of the post install hooks. The problem is it would still boot the binary that was installed because it would execute it without the post install hook. So the fact is, you have to go in here and turn off auto update. If you have auto update on, it sounds nice, but the problem is when you open Visual Studio up, you could be vulnerable to Sha1-hulud. Sha1-hulud goes and steals credentials to a bunch of stuff and worms itself around. That's what it does. And the marketplace for this is just Sha1-hulud stealing credentials and worming itself to this marketplace. I think this is a scary attack vector that people aren't. You'll notice I have these all unclicked, and you can do this through the settings, and you need to do it or unplug your machine from the internet, make sure it's disconnected from the internet, then open up Visual Studio and go through and click unclick auto update, because this is a attack vector of Sha1-hulud, and if you're not thinking about this, it's a devastating attack vector. So during these events, I mean, I recommend everybody on my team not to auto update their plugins, because I think that this is a very big attack vector. Now, you're right that Antigravity or this could be infected with Sha1-hulud, right? Because these are all TypeScript heavy, NPM heavy repositories, right? And that's just the whole supply chain attack, right? So I have Sha1-hulud really interested me. So I've actually dug quite a bit into it. I had to deal with it too. I have not been infected by it so far. I've been lucky. I'm not even going to say that I've been good. Some of that's just lucky. When was the last time you had an AI agent do something with your packages? Terrifying. A new rule for all AI agents. Let's admit all the yeah, Russell. Let's admit all the Monaco. I keep forgetting. I say it's VS Code, but you're right. It's a Monaco based editor that be developed by people heavily using AI. Probably, absolutely, like spot on. And it's the other thing. If you look at the import list, I don't know what the dependencies are for Monaco. I imagine it's thousands of them. And so when you have people that just go through and update a bunch of those, or worse, they're a star and they're not pinned, I hope VS Code is pinned 2 versions. Excuse me. I hope VS Code is pinned to versions, but if they're not pinned to versions, literally thousands and thousands of packages. Probably. Because also what you have to think about is it's your dependencies of your dependencies. And so even if you only depend on 5 things, you could actually be depending on 1,000. And look at the node modules. Just go look. It'll terrify you. It'll terrify you. All right. Let's jump into some AI news. With the release of Antigravity, we also released Gemini 3. Gemini 3, I have gotten to use it now. People last week were asking if I got to use it. I have now. It is actually better than expected. Gemini has always been terrible for me. Absolutely. Every single time I leverage it, I regret it. And Gemini 3, I have tried, and it doesn't just curl my toenails when I give it a shot. It's actually not been terrible. I can't tell you that it's better than any of the other leading models right now, but I can tell you that at least they've caught up. Because prior to this, anybody that was a true Gemini fan, I feel like was paid by Google to be a fan. Now, I'm not sure that I'm necessarily a fan, but it's usable. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, Russell. I don't know that I haven't used it enough to say it's better or worse, but it feels similar now. Where Gemini 2 2.5 never felt similar. I never had that like, oh, this feels like it could be switched out. Now, their AI browser, the Antigravity. Why did that? I was just talking about it. Antigravity, it felt good. I used Gemini 3 in that, and Gemini 3 did a good job. Also, I don't know if this is because of the lack of users or whatnot, but it was faster than OpenAI. So it responded faster. That was actually something that I felt was really good about it. It was really quick. Yeah. So anyways, it's been released. It's decent. Like I said, I can't tell you more than it's decent. Yeah, I couldn't at this point tell you. I haven't used it enough to like identify what its quirks are, because they all have these quirks that you can learn to leverage. This is why when a tool is built for one, it's like Cursor. I think honestly the best AI model for Cursor is Composer, because I think that they tweak their agent to prompt in such a way to make it work. And it used to be Sonnet, and I used to believe that it was a Sonnet, and now since they've released Composer, but because you write it for the quirks of your AI, the ways it handles stuff. And so, you know what? Antigravity probably works best with Gemini. It's probably been coded that way. Whenever I use Copilot and I tried to use something outside of ChatGPT, it would work way less well. That's been my experience with it. Now, maybe that's how I use them, but my experience is generally they work the best with the one that they were made to work with. Your experience may differ. In that, Claude Opus 4.5 has been released. So pretty much ChatGPT 5 came out, 5.1, Claude Opus 4.5 has come out, Gemini 3 has come out. Everybody's releasing, I'm going to say the winter's game. Honestly, this is what's happened. Everybody knows that the AI Games is coming up December 15th. Everyone knows. Everyone knows December 15th, they had better put their best foot forward, because the leading deterministic way of understanding how good your AI is doing is coming up. That deadline is coming out soon, and they're running out of time. This is what's happening. So you're seeing a flood of people releasing their latest and greatest models to try to put their best foot forward. We'll see how well it works. I gotta get a lot of work done. All right. The last thing in AI news is just this that I noticed. Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Anthropic announced a strategic partnership. I'm not going to say anything about the pyramid scheme that's going on right now with Microsoft and NVIDIA at the bottom of it, or at the top of it. Yeah, it feels like a pyramid with Microsoft and NVIDIA at the top. I'm not going to say anything about that, or bubbles, or anything like that. What I am going to say is that as OpenAI has moved away from Microsoft, Microsoft needed to fill that gap of money burning AI startups and has partnered with Anthropic. Now, Anthropic didn't have the money necessary, so NVIDIA is giving it money so that it can commit to its purchase of $30 billion of Azure compute capacity. And it will leverage the NVIDIA cards on Azure compute. It's not circular, they say, but that is what they're doing. And yeah, I don't know. There's the news on that. That's all I have to say. There's nothing more there. In this quick break before we go to open source, I do want to address what Scott. I haven't heard from Tom either. I haven't seen him online. If somebody sees him online, let me know. I haven't gotten into his Discord. I don't know if he has a Discord, or gotten to be Discord friends with him. But I used to raid him, and I haven't seen him. So I am a little worried. But if you see him, just let me know so I don't have to be worried. Hopefully, my hope is it's the holidays and he's visiting family. All right, we have some pretty interesting open source news. Now, this first one, I don't know when it came out. I just saw it on Hacker News and I thought it was pretty cool. It's something I've never really gotten into too much, but I've always wanted to. I love math. I'm not good at it. I'm pretty bad at it, but I do love it. And I'm always like, man, if I had the time, I'd like to do more math. Kind of like I'd like to do more hack the box. Those things are fun and interesting. I'm terrible at them, but they're fun and interesting to me. That being said, if you're wanting to get into more statistical analysis and you're like, man, R would be really cool. Well, R is really cool, but sometimes it's kind of complicated and painful to set up if you're not running on Arch. If that's you, there is this website called webr.sh. I'm going to give you the link right now. You can run R in your browser. It's pretty cool. If you don't want to go through the pain and hassle of installing it locally, you can right here. And you can use R to your heart's content. Will I use R? I don't know that I'm smart enough to use R. This is for you all. I would love to. At some point in my life. Now, did you guys remember what I talked about at the beginning of this? Let's see. Shadow Ray. Do you guys remember when I talked about Shadow Ray? And it's an unpatched Ray flaw that builds a self-spreading GPU crypto mining botnet. Now, if you're not a fan of mining other people's cryptocurrency for them, then what you need to do is make sure that Ray is not exposed anywhere to the internet or input from the user. Okay? Because they've said this is unpatched and it's by design. It's how they want it to operate. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up again is because PyTorch Foundation welcomes Ray to deliver a unified open source AI compute stack. So if you're excited about the support Ray is getting and want to use Ray with your PyTorch stuff, which I think that Ray actually provides some really valuable stuff to PyTorch if you're leveraging it that way in the cloud, you need to understand the risks involved with running Ray and understand how to mitigate those risks. That's why I talked so much about it at the beginning. Now, I want to give them a shout out here because this is really cool. Ray is joining PyTorch and it's going to hopefully reduce the complexity of getting your AI thing into production. Now, if that's you and you're wanting to use it, I just recommend that, not that one, this one, that you check this out and understand how to run it securely. I'm not trying to take away from their achievement. Congratulations to Ray for getting into the PyTorch Foundation. I know that there's a lot of hard work, and I'm calling out a vulnerability they said that they won't fix. I wanted to celebrate what they're doing, and I really do. Kudos to them. I just wanted, I have a thing about running securely. It's everybody's responsibility. And so if you're going to use Ray, you have to know how to run it securely, and that's how you run it securely. By air gapping it. But kudos to them. They joined the PyTorch Foundation. I'm looking forward to what they do best. And maybe next year we'll use Ray a little bit. I actually have maybe a half-baked idea for something to deploy in some cheap deployable location. We'll see. It's half-baked. In other open source news, Open Euler. I don't know how to pronounce that, but we're super pod ready. If you thought pods was just the end, the super pod is ready. So a super pod OS, ready OS is, well, it's a super pod. What is a super pod, you might ask? Well, a super pod says, well, we need ultra large scale clusters that integrate multiple physical machines into a unified computing unit for training AI. So basically AI has said, we need more bigger machines. And what a super pod is, instead of multiple pods on a machine, we have multiple machines on a pod. That's a super pod. It's super, and that's what it is. You're wanting to have low latency interconnects between and high bandwidth between a cluster of machines. So think of machines in the same rack. So these superpods definitely are like a data center first thing. But think about high interconnect machines in a rack that share a rack that could act like a really large singular machine. Now, this isn't actually a new idea by any real means, because we've had this type of concept when you go to what was it called? Oh, I thought about this before the stream. It was like, in comparison to Kubernetes, it was like basically you could scale to any size machine as a singular thing. And it just kind of hid that it was all on different compute. Mesosphere. I'm not pronouncing it correctly, but it's something like that. So this isn't perfectly new, but a super pod is kind of making it Kubernetes ready, cloud native ready. So when a super pod comes to your cluster, Kubernetes is going to be able to handle it and orchestrate it like it would a pod. It's an interesting concept. Now, where does it go from here? Is it really needed? I don't know. I personally have never run something that is super podded needed. So anyways, you heard it here first though. Super pods coming to a cluster near you. FluxNova. This is something I'm not going to talk about a whole lot. I wanted to give them a round of applause. FluxNova is a new open source beats per minute platform which aims to provide automation and orchestration capabilities to accelerate into the digitalization of end-to-end process or workflows across the organization. Now, this is really a financial, for financial companies. That's why I don't know what BPM is. I know it's a financial platform. It's a workflow engine. That I understand, but it's for financial companies. I don't know what that means. I don't know what the BPMs are. Beats per minute is the only thing I can come up with. I'm sure that I could have dug into it more, but I'm not into the FinOps stuff a whole lot. So if you are, I wanted you to know that it existed. If you aren't, you can ignore what I said. And the last thing, Valkey 9.0. You guys have been watching Valkey 9.0. I think, you know what? I think that Valkey should have like a Valkyrie as its like logo. Is that just me? Business process modeling. Okay. That's a better guess than beats per minute. That's a much better guess. But Valkey should have a Valkyrie as its like logo. Just saying. Just saying. I don't even know what a Valkyrie would look like. I'm thinking the winged helmet. That's all. That's all. Anyways, 9.0 comes out supposedly with improved scalability. So if you've been using Valkey, hitting scalability issues, you could think about upgrading. That was like one of the biggest things that I saw in the Valkey update was that. So kudos to them. Congratulations to everybody that released that. Man, big projects are hard to release. I'm telling you, there's so much stress and did I miss anything in the news? Those were the big things I saw. Did anybody see anything else? A Valkyrie dressed like Tron. All right. We have some coding to do. The AI games are getting closer, and I've been working in my spare time on other aspects. So I'm working on the I've worked on some other things. So we have our Advent of AI challenge. I'm stepping that one up. That's getting stepped up a level. I'm kind of excited about it. Last year, I tried to make it like fairly doable. Like I would say like a day 2 or 3, like not so easy day 1, but like also pretty easy. Something where it's like, oh, the solution is straightforward. This year, not so much. Not so much. I'm going like day 10. I know like the later days are much harder. I never get to the later days of Advent of Code because I never have enough time. Like the sheer amount of time sometimes feels like, sure, I could figure it out, but I'm never going to be the first one to do it. The people that are the first ones, they are good at solving those problems. I'm going to be like a month later. Like, hey guys, I solved it. I solved it. 1 month later. I'm still working on day 15, 3 years later. Day 20, 3 years later. Okay. We have our AI games though. And honestly, I'm really happy with it. So I'm going to show you guys that. I got to go get a drink. Stretch my legs. We have some work to do on it, but I wanted to show you all the secret management that I've done. It's not perfect, but I actually really, really like it. So you know how with all my stuff for the stream, I'm always having to like pass credentials and stuff in. And so then I'm just like sourcing these dot files. And it got me thinking like having them in dot files terrifies me, right? Because like I understand that encryption is really just a delay. If you really want them and you steal the encrypted file, there's a chance that you have a bunch of GPUs and you can hack it in a year, right? But if I rotate every 90 days or even every 180 days, which is commonly what I do with my personal stuff, because like if you hack my OpenAI key, you get $10 worth of credits. It's really not the biggest deal to me. If like worst case scenario with those. But needless to say, I'm trying to be better about this. And so this is actually really cool. It's encrypted with a passcode. But anyways, we'll get into it. I'm excited about it. Oh, one second. Let me likely ban evader. Let's ban them again. What crypto? I'm just saying how I encrypted the file. I don't know. If you have a bunch of GPUs, you could probably crack it. It's just an encrypted file. And I did it. Actually, Grey Hatter, stick around. I'm about to go get a drink, but I'm going to show you a little. I'll show you all a little in-application secret management solution that I came up with. I didn't. That's not really true. Well, that's good. Perfect. or you're going to say that's not really true. It will take only 6 days. I've always heard that it's possible. Now, what level of effort? I don't know. How much compute do you need? I don't know. But I'll show it to you guys. Like I said, not a security expert, so any input, I did some reading to write it. You don't know a modern crypto that can be hacked before the sun explodes? Well, that's fantastic. Then possibly my secrets are safe till the sun explodes, which we'll have bigger problems than somebody stealing $10 from me with my OpenAI key, which will be awesome. So yeah, I think it's cool. It could be really dumb. But yeah, anyways, let's play a little Wordle, or you all get up and stretch. I'm gonna turn Wordle on while we're we'll have to get Wordle using this new system. See, like, what I'm solving is we have this thing where I have to I do source, and then something like this .twitch chat, and in that it's just stored in plain text as an export to put it in my environment, and I really don't like that. And I wanted a solution that I have like a bajillion keys to a bunch of different things for streaming. And so I wanted a more secure way to leverage them. And so I'll show you the more secure way when I get back. Oh. So it is only a week. You lied to me. You were making me think it was longer than the year that I thought I had. It's only a week long. There we go. We already had our first Wordle word guess. Yeah, trust me. Twitch has weird ideas of what fun means. Let me tell you. All right. I will see you all. Give me about 13 minutes. I'll see you in 13 minutes. Okay. What is this? Chief? I'm going with Chief too. That's what I'm going with. I don't know another CHI word, I don't think. I know as soon as you say it, I'll be like, oh, that's obviously it. I'm just really terrible at this game. Chips, of course. Of course. Okay, I'm going. I said I didn't know that another CHI word, and there's 2 great CHI words. I am just really terrible at coming up with words with letter patterns. Like, if I had to list things I was terrible at, that's got to be in the top 10. So it's not chips or chill. Because it would have taken chips if it was correct. Child. Oh, that one's just blacked out. Like PTSD. But no L. But you started the timer, Scott. You started this timer, Scott. Oh no. Chick. Chick is a good one. Nice save there. Russell comes through. Russell came through for us. Nice work, all of you. I can almost never do a Wordle because I can never think of the word to put in there. Like I said, it's one of my top 10 worst things. All right. Let's look at how this thing runs. I'm going to show you how it runs, and then we can talk about it. I think honestly, it could be a standalone thing as well, and possibly its own module that you could just import. I think. Maybe people like, it could be that as a streamer I do this more often and like it just wouldn't be useful, but so let's see, we can wait, what is this project called? Oh yeah, AI Arena. Russell, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Spectrum is definitely up there. Man, I want Spectrum to be number 1, but to be fair, the other 2 are worse. I just really want it to be up there. The only people... There are 2 people that don't hate Spectrum. There are exactly 2 people. The investors who get paychecks from them. That's one group of people that don't hate them. And the Amish, because they don't know what Spectrum is. I was going to say people who have never used Spectrum. I didn't say that they liked them. I just said they don't hate them. But I think that actually you don't have to have used them to dislike them. So I think that honestly it's the investors and the Amish. Maybe some select groups of the Mennonite. All right. The Amish might dislike it. Like, you're right. I might have gone out on a limb. We're not going to do chess right now, but tic-tac-toe. Check this out. This is how this runs. Enter the password for the secret file. So basically, all the secrets are stored in a single file that's encrypted when you first make the file. And this actually sits in your home directory under the name of the application. So it's not actually something that would get checked in either by accident. Even though it's an encrypted file, I didn't want to get checked in. And so basically I can unlock that secret file and boom, it gets access to all the secrets. All the secrets are actually basically they can be accessed via dot notation. So like we could have a couple different tokens for OpenAI for different reasons, for different purposes, for different experiments, whatever we wanted to do. If we wanted to track it that way, we could do that, which I thought was kind of cool. And so right now it's actually running. The games don't have any feedback right now, which is something we need to work on. Like I said, it's in the minimum viable product space right now. It could be better. But it has access to all the secrets. The really cool thing that I did was like with the Twitch alerts, you know how they run. And when they run in Kubernetes, those things are mounted as environment variables, right? So basically, if there's not a secret file, so if it doesn't find a secret file there, it just uses the name of the secret and swaps it out with an environment variable. So you can still use the exact same code in production that you can locally, which I thought was cool. Maybe terrifying. Maybe it's bad design. That's possible. I thought it was cool. So here we go. One of the things that we need to do is better visualization. This is just bad visualization. Like we need like the actual tic-tac-toe board. Like I said, it's an MVP. We also played chess. Chess takes a while though, and about one of the things. So right now, if you notice, when I did this, I just used all default. So I made default inputs, which was maybe a good thing, maybe a bad thing. Let me go. Let's see. I just made them these here. So GPT-5 and GPT 5.1. The interesting thing here is that 5 is working like a thinking model, and this is not. And so when 5 runs, it's actually costing a ton, because this is something I've warned people about. Let me log in really quickly to my dashboard. Okay, so here we go. When you look at this, oh, this is really cool. These are your guys's. Russell's songs of courage. I do love this. We need to update it to not be 3.5 turbo. That's dumb. There's actually cheaper models than 3.5 turbo. So if you look here, it generated this move with 3,601 tokens. Because this is something I warned people about with thinking models, it actually is prompting itself, right? And it's kind of doing a little agent work. I mean, I honestly, I haven't seen them release too much of exactly how they do that, but my guess is that they're kind of agenting it, right? With prompting itself. And so you get counted as those. So GPT 5.1 was not. And so it was only doing 17 tokens. You know, that's how much this takes. So 5.1 was costing a whole lot less. Also, the other thing is, because of this, it was taking so much time to make a move. Does this have the time between each, the time it took to respond? Let's see. So you can see here, 5.1 would respond almost immediately. This one would go and it would be a 2-minute delay before the next move, right? Because this took about 2 minutes to do. Almost every single time. This one was 1 minute. This one was 3 minutes. GPT-5 was so slow. It took the game of chess like 20 minutes to complete. So, new rule, no thinking models in this. Not when playing a game of chess. Tic-tac-toe is fine. So anyways, this is the secrets and how they work. So when you basically, it can run in 2 different modes. It can run in environment mode or secret mode. If it's in environment mode, it doesn't allow you to set environment variables. I thought about allowing it to do that, but for now, I just made that an error. You can't set environments. When it's in secret mode, it's when it's found the file and is using the file. And so this is like I said, you can run in dot notation. The cool thing I did here, I think I say cool thing because I did it, and I think it's cool. When you're looking here, when you're in the environment mode, when you're getting environment, you basically take the dot notation, make it underscore notation, and get the environment for that key, which I thought that was cool. And then in secret mode, you get it from the collection of secrets. So I need to delete some of these. I'll leave that one. I need to not eat errors. Basically here, like, we're just eating this error because we don't. I played around with returning a result, but that meant a lot of changes that I don't think you can watch yesterday's VOD. I ping-ponged on that one. I actually went to do it and then it didn't work out very well and it made everything really messy. It was like returning the result of an option. Ugh, it was gross. It was gross. So these are stored like this. So like, well, actually it's probably easiest to just show you on, let's see here. So this is like OpenAI.general. That is the dot notation. So like you could have something like Open AI prod general, and you could have something like open AI prod, you know, another environment, because you can like break it into environments like I don't know, EU, like I don't know. It just allows you to do that. I thought that was kind of a cool thing for general purpose key management. Right now, to add a new key, it's not a standalone CLI, so I actually still have to just run it through here. But if it was its own CLI, it would be like this. So you can do secrets, and then you can do get and set. I just put all of them in here so that we could actually experiment with it. So here you can set a secret, and all you do is like this. It's set, and then it's the name of the secret. This is that dot notation. So, you know, you could do open AI test, and then the value. Now, one change that I didn't do yesterday, but I do want to do is I don't want to type the value on the command line. I want to do this. This won't work because it needs the value. But what I want to do in the future is do this, where you give it the name and then it prompts you with that secure box, because I want to be able to use this on stream. And so I don't want to have to be like, set Bob. Now I have to unencrypt the password with the password. Cool. Done. So now OpenAI test is a thing. The other, there's several things. I can't delete one out of this. I could delete the whole secret file, but there's no way to like delete. There's also no way to list. I think that listing would be a really good option as well, so you can see what's in there. It obviously needs its own it needs its own CLI, because right now it's only baked into this application. But that's the start of it. Kind of did this yesterday during the day. I did stream a decent amount of it. I had some of the other stuff already done yesterday, like some of the serialization and deserialization. I said serialization, encryption and decryption. Although this was not like mostly not me. So you're talking about libraries that manage this. You know, good old Sha1-256. I use libraries. But yeah, I think the main ones were this one and these 4. These 4 and Sha1-256. So my part of the code there is fairly simple. Yeah. Is it secure? It's probably better than storing in plain text. That's about the only guarantee that I give it. Yeah, it's about the only guarantee I give it. All right. We probably need to test out some Olama. Let's try. Let's try with Olama configured. Instead of GPT-5, we'll do this with Olama. And we'll do it with Granite 4. That's what it's called, right? Yep. All right. It doesn't need a key. I'll just pass this in. This isn't optional, but since it has a default, it will just use the default, which is fine because it exists. Oh. Where is it gonna hit? Did I hard code Olama's? Yeah. Olama didn't work. We probably have a problem here, right? Because like, I don't have any way to configure where Olama is, right? I probably need another option for like API endpoint that's also optional. Something like something like 192.168.1.104. You know, it's just something like that. And then call this like agent to API endpoint, right? And now, whenever we set up OpenAI, there's a build agent function. Build agent, is that in the agent RS? Is there build? It's called build agent, right? Oh, build agents. There we go. I knew it. Okay, so what are we doing for... URL is not... This is not a secret, but thank you. Also, we don't need this. So an original iteration basically used, it was spread throughout the code. Basically, it would try to get it from the secret manager and then fall back to an or else. And this is the problem because this would have fallen through, this would have fallen through, and then this would have also fallen through. There's already a default, and it shouldn't be any of this, right? This is all garbage code. CFG, there we go. Should be in the CFG. CFG dot not wait. 1 second, we gotta update this. We gotta update this. Okay. Hub API endpoint option string. Okay, let's go. Wait. We have to set that, right? Do we have like a new AI agent config? I don't see it, but we can at least use this. Wait, the trait bound string. Oh, this is an option. Right. Let's do this. Let endpoint let base URL equal we could just throw an expect here, right? We expect a endpoint. And if we don't, I mean, there's no point in moving forward with anything, right? Expected an API endpoint, and we're actually guaranteed to have one here, right? Because we're passing in a default one. It might not be the right one that we want. I suppose I could just throw that in here now, but it'll be fine. No, I'll leave it out like this. It's a little dented. But now this should play tic-tac-toe. Okay, I expected this. So in main and CSV runner. CSV runner is something I had Gemini 3 do. I've never tried it. So I don't know if that works. It seemed like it was on the right track, but I have not. What line did that say it was in main? 88. Here we go. This is agent 1. There we go. All right. CVS, CSV, not C. I switch these two around all the time now. All right, and then this is. Oh, the other cool thing that the secret manager does is now you can put the profile, the secret profile, in a CSV. So like which one you want to leverage to run that secret, to run that run. And you don't have to worry about passing any secrets in. Like it's not part of any of the configuration. I thought that was really nice. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Wait. That might not be the place that we need. We need to put it at, let's see, 98. Yeah. Here we go. Let's see, this is probably a clone. Yeah. No. What's wrong with this? No field agent 1 API endpoint on type. Yeah, we need to update the test case to have this. I think we still need the clone. I'm gonna throw that in there because it's a full-fledged string. So we got to update here. Wait. I want this just to be a pass-through, so let's do this. Whoops. Hub API endpoint. Agent 1 API endpoint. This is an option string technically. Is it at this point? No, it's not at this point. Is it? It's still an option, right? Yes. It is still an option at this point. And then we'll put this down here. I feel like there's probably a better way of doing this. This is, again, just for... Yeah, I don't know. There's got to be a better way of doing this. I don't know what the I don't know what Gemini did here. What are these? What? But why? But why? I don't know if this is correct. We're just gonna follow what they did. Like I said, I've never run or tested this. It might be correct. It could be. Just because I don't understand doesn't mean I can't blindly trust. It means I shouldn't blindly trust. Is it leaving it all in a CSV? And that's why it's like handling it with this stir. And so like, it's just, yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I would have used a CSV parser. Yeah, I'm just gonna get this working. We still have errors down here at the bottom. Oh, is this supposed to be none? Very excited, none. Okay. I think that fixes it. Ew, I forgot about this. I forgot about this. Let's see. These can't be short. Wait. Yeah. Because they'll be the same short. Ooh, will it hit our local thing? Is it still even running? You know, that's the question. Oh, look at this. Relative URL without a base? What? Can you print out what that is? What? Okay, oh no. Llama? Wait, why does it say unused? Field base URL is never used. Oh. Oh, how badly have I screwed up? It's here. I just never used it. Okay. Do I have a... No tracing in this. Oh, I should have put tracing in this because I don't know where this... Olama chat request failed. Network error. Post request failed without a base. So here's my chat request. And here's where I post it, right? Now, it's probably when I make the Olama agent. Right. So on here, I have the base URL temperature and the client. Do I need to put that in the client here? Oh, yeah. I do put it in here. I just... Oh, I know what it's wanting. Right. Let's try this again. It's wanting... And we need to put in its, what is the, how do I get to the big configuration window? No, not that. Stop. I want to open up this panel, and then I do settings. Yeah, and then I can look here, and there we go. This is what we want, right? I almost did HTTPS too. Okay, it's not letting me paste. 192.168.114:11434. Okay. I think that will fix it. Okay, error connect, TCP connect error, connection refused. Now this might be because this machine, I've left this machine on for, it's probably been on like for 3 days, and so far I've never seen it be stable for more than a couple of days. So let's try SSH to it. Oh, it's still up. What? Oh, I mean, that makes sense because, I mean, this sees it, so it's still up. Why was the connection refused? Oh, you know what? I don't know if this makes a difference. Let's do this. Connection refused. Uh, 192.168.1.104. 192.168.1.104. It's the right location. 1143.4. 1143.4. Oh, I'm a dumb. Who let me do this? Who let me put a forward slash? Who let me pay? It's not my fault that happened. Cool. This is the first time I've seen an invalid move be made. Now, to be fair, that was not a good model for this. Let's do it with Scout. Llama 4 Scout. That's probably my best model for this competition. Let's use the command line instead of this. I know that I can just change it here, but I can also just change agent to model, right? So I can do this and do agent to model. And we're saying llama 4 Scout. It might take it a little while because it's not loaded, right? I don't even know if I properly have the loading code. Rough. That was rough. Let's try that again. It should be loaded now. Yeah, see how much faster it is now that it's loaded in memory. Whale. Scout performed hilariously badly. I'm not sure why it's not printing out its invalid moves here. I'm guessing it's because it didn't finish the game. So it doesn't have logic for that. When it was able to finish the game, basically right now I just have it loop a couple times trying to get it to do the right thing. But I would be interested in knowing what it's doing, right? I want to close this. No, just close. Thank you. Oh, that's rough. That was like... That's a 64 billion parameter model, right? That's what Scout is, right? Maybe 17 billion parameters. I don't know. I don't know the difference between active parameters and total parameters. Is there a difference? They don't even have Scout here as a... They have Scout. I know I download. Okay, Scout. Huh, it doesn't say how many parameters this has. So it is 67 gigabytes. It's the largest model that I had. I thought that it would probably do better than what has been done. It did remarkably bad. Should we try Llama 4? Let's try just Llama 4, straight Llama 4. I don't know if this will work. Llama does not like tic-tac-toe. Okay? Let's just put this out there. Llama does not like tic-tac-toe. Okay, let's figure out what's actually going on here. Let's see. Okay, I have only a little bit of time left. Let's figure out what's going on. I'm trying to think of why when it fails. I don't think this is dealing with it, right? So possibly what it is we're just not giving good results, right? Let's see what this looks like. Why don't we just pass in result here? I'll figure out. That looks really dumb, but I'll figure that out later. So I thought this would go to the other player, but it's not, because I don't switch to player here. So one thing that I could do is if the AI makes an invalid turn, do I automatically switch to the other player? Do they just lose their turn? I mean, in tic-tac-toe, that's devastating. But the other thing that I could do here is... I could do something like this. What was their move? We can just print it down. I don't know. I don't know if that's the right thing to do here. No, that's not what I wanted to do at all. I don't want the state. I want the actual turn. I want the... When we call execute turn here, we are actually prompting the AI, right? I could just print it here, but it would also print valid moves. Let's just do that for right now. Let's do this. Move made. This will just do it for all of them, but that will be fine. It'll be a little noisy this time, but we'll see. Let's see. So this is column 1, row 1, and it's responding like this. Move. So it's just not responding in the right format, but it's very, very confidently wrong, which is interesting. Let's make sure that I'm going to remove this. That's just extra wordy for nothing. How are we? Let's go back to execute turn. How are we prompting it? So Yeah, we are not asking it. We're asking it for row and column. Super interesting. Everybody else is getting it, row and column. It's putting it inside of something. Oh, interesting. Every single time. We're doing this with Llama 4. I don't know what size we got. Probably just this, Llama 4 latest. Which looks like it's Scout. Like, if you look at this, it looks like it's the Scout. Just from size-wise. It's a 64 gigabyte model. It's a pretty decent size. Actually, you know what would be interesting? I need to make an SSH config for this. I need to find a permanent place for it. That's not... 104 is not the permanent spot for it. I want to see this when we then play the game. It's using 64 gigs of memory. Doesn't really spike beyond that. Oh, hasn't really done anything either. There we go. There we go. We get some Llama. I mean, really, it's not hurting this. Just memory is the only thing that this thing has an issue with. Okay. It so confidently wants that move. Okay. All right. Well, it's been 3 hours. I know that's a little bit shorter than I normally stream, but I got stuff I have to do, and I streamed yesterday. And I'm going to stream a lot. The AI games are coming up. Put a lot of work into those. Yeah. Yeah, the AI games are coming up. I need to find somebody to break a Kubernetes cluster for me. I found one person already. If you're interested in breaking a Kubernetes cluster for me, let me know. We're going to be trying to do a fix again. So yeah, let me know if you'd like to, because I will hand you a Kubernetes cluster. You will have a couple of days before the games to break it. In pretty much any way you see fit, except for you can't break my access to the cluster. I have to be able to access the cluster. So if you'd like delete all of the SSH, I won't be able to access it. And that doesn't, it's not great. So, okay, I'm gonna let you all get going. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. Let's see if there's somebody to raid. Let me see if there's somebody to raid. Do you guys know of anybody that's on right now? Let's see. All right. I am going to raid Finite Singularity. If you guys don't know finite singularity, he programs on stream. Super cool. You guys should go check him out. Give him a follow.
Is the name, and if you've been here, I do apologize. I hope your stream went. Is the name, and if you've been here, I do apologize. I hope your stream went well. Hope you had a blast. Today we're going to be building up some OBS stuff and playing a little bit of Kaizo Mario, which will be all sorts of interesting. Russ Riguez, welcome to the stream. Happy to have you here from Merrick's Raid. So yeah, if you did anything cool, you want to let us know what you were doing, please feel free in chat. If you got to just run, I totally get it. The transition from streaming to not streaming can be real. I've been here a little, but not much lurking when you're here. Thanks for your stream. You're very, very welcome. You're very welcome. Earthathian, OBS and Kaizo. Yes, we are going to be Kaizoing the Kaizo. But first, we have to build out this scene a little bit. And I've got some ideas, chat. I don't know if you all remember the 80s like I do. You filled your Trapper Keeper stuff, so making a tent would have meant paper everywhere. I don't think that stopped me, DC.